Hello and welcome to my review of episode 13 of The Mandalorian. This one's called The Jedi, and this one was a little bit better. I wouldn't say it's as good as the Bryce Dallas Howard episode 3, but it was pretty good. Um, yeah, I feel like a lot of these season 2 episodes have been kind of weak, and I'm glad that this one was a little bit better. So basically, they go to the forest moon of I forget what it was called, but I was kind of I kind of liked the the atmosphere of this, because I like once they said forest moon, I just kind of pictured like like an Endor like planet. But this one was more like a spooky swamp forest with lots of fog, and I'm sure the whole planet can't be like that, but I just like the way that the particular setting for this episode was like some kind of ghost forest, and it kind of seemed like the planet was war torn, and at some point I believe they said that the villain in this episode was just like some kind of weird warlord that was conquering planets or something like that. But anyway, the setting was pretty good. Um, so we learned Baby Yoda's real name, and I thought it was interesting how. Okay, so let me talk about the Jedi first. So Ahsoka Tano was in this episode. In the previous episodes, they were talking about how the Mandalorian needed to find her and bring Baby Yoda to her to be trained, and I don't know. Ahsoka was pretty cool. I mean, she kind of seemed like she was emotionally distant in the same way that Luke Skywalker was kind of emotionally distant in the Return of the Jedi, and that seemed consistent. So Ahsoka Tano was talking to Baby Yoda through telepathy or something, or she was feeling his feelings, and I thought that was kind of interesting because one of my critiques of Baby Yoda being 50 years old was that how do you get to be 50 and learn some force abilities, but you can't understand simple language, and and this episode kind of led me to believe that they did communicate with him, but they just communicated with him through telepathy and emotions rather than language, and that makes it seem a little bit less silly. So yeah, there was some emotional father son moments in this one that I really thought was good. I kind of like that. They brought back the little metal piece of the Mandalorian's control panel, and for some reason, Baby Yoda likes the shinies, and he was just like they kind of brought that back, and they did it in a really nice way. Like I like the way they handled that. I guess I shouldn't really spoil the result of what happened with Ahsoka. I did feel like Ahsoka, even though she's a Jedi, and one of the things that I don't like about Jedi is that they often seem to win a little too easily, and I don't know, maybe that's just something that I need to accept, because like there are different levels of skill in the world of war. Um, I guess some people are just experts, and they win. So I don't know. I like it. Just kind of makes me think of the times that I've played paintball on a course, and like a lot of the people there are just like kids and families, but then, but then there are like people who come in their own gear. They come in their own camouflage and bring their own guns, and they look like they're cops or military, and then they just kill everybody. So I don't know. Maybe it's just expected that some warriors are just gonna cut through people like butter. So I don't know. I guess I can't complain about it. But I did want to see, I did want to see them be challenged a little bit more. Like the most I felt that they were challenged was when the Mandalorian and Ahsoka try to break into this base, and it seemed like Ahsoka, even though she was cutting people to pieces when they came out into the ghost forest on their own, like when they came out in small numbers, she could kill them easily. But I got the impression that inside the fortress, they were a little bit too much for one Jedi, and when the Mandalorian helped her, it seemed like they were able to be more, successful. Michael Biehn was in this episode, which I thought was kind of cool. If you don't know who Michael Biehn is, he played Kyle Reese in The Terminator. He played Corporal Hicks in Aliens. He played one of the bad guys in Tombstone. He was in The Abyss. He's like an action movie star in the science fiction genre. He also played one of the people in The Rock, starring Sean Connery. But I don't know. When I first saw Michael Biehn, maybe it's pronounced Michael Biehn, I'm not sure, but he was in this, and I was pretty excited to see him because, like, one of my complaints about The Mandalorian is that all the actors just seem like they're sitcom-y, like goofballs who just can't act. Michael Biehn, he has the look of a person that lives in a war-torn universe. Like, he just looks like he's seen some stuff. He just seems dejected and jaded and like has the joy beaten out of him by life, and like he pulls that off. But I feel like, and some of the other people in this episode were like that. There was this guy, this Asian dude. I think he was the mayor of the town before the bad guys took it over or something. But he was well cast too, because he had the same look of despair on his face. Like he looked like he'd experienced some hardship. Unlike the goofy villagers from episode 4 in season 1, where they just seemed like they walked right out of a sitcom and they didn't know how to act, these people looked like they knew how to handle sorrow. Michael Biehn was like that. The main villain was kind of like that. The mayor was like that. They did a good job casting this one. I feel like there might have been one bad actor, but I don't know. I can't think of it at the moment. What else? One thing that bugged me a little bit was that it didn't really feel like they made good use of Michael Biehn. Like, Michael Biehn, he didn't really seem to have many lines. Like, I feel like all he said was, he looked at Baby Yoda one time and he was like, "What is that thing?" And then he was like, "Oh, I don't have anything against Mandalorians." They didn't have very many speaking parts, which I thought was a little weird. Like, the villains, the main boss lady, she was good in that she was able to fight with a Jedi and hold her own, at least for a little while, and she kind of got the better of Ahsoka Tano for a bit. But Michael Biehn, I didn't really feel like his character was I don't know. I felt like they were trying to make it seem like he was a gunfighter and like he was formidable in some ways. But when it came down to the fight between him and the Mandalorian and Ahsoka, it just seemed like more of the same. Oh, they're killing everybody and we can't handle this. And I wanted Michael Biehn to actually like have some, get the better of them. At least a little bit. Like, it just seemed like the heroes were just cutting through everybody like a hot knife through butter. And that, I guess that's fine if the henchmen are getting killed. But I feel like Michael Biehn should have gotten the upper hand at least one time. The Mandalorian was not afraid of him. He just kind of stared him down. It just didn't seem like Michael Biehn was. It didn't seem like he was used well. I feel like one thing about the Mandalorian's character that I've been thinking about lately is that one of the cool things about him in the last season was that he didn't speak much. Like he would like there would be people who would be talking to him and he just disregarded them. Like he'd listen, but he didn't really feel the need to over explain things. He didn't feel the need to chit chat. He didn't chatter, and I thought that was characteristic of a person like Din Djarin, the main character. Like he there's not a lot of room for and frivolousness and like, what am I trying to say? Immaturity or like chatter, and I kind of felt like they brought a little bit back. They brought a little bit of the strong, silent type personality into Din Djarin in this episode. But he was kind of chattering a bit more in the last episode, and he was kind of chattering in this one a little bit in the beginning, but I don't know. It just seemed like he was when he was talking, he was like being a parental figure, and so you kind of, okay, you know, he's not gonna treat his own children or his own the people that he's responsible for taking care of, you know, for caring for. He's not going to treat them like they don't matter. He's not going to just ignore them. So I don't know. Maybe that was okay, I guess. What else do I want to talk about? I thought it was interesting how the Beskar armor was invulnerable to lightsabers. Like there was a point where there was a Beskar spear, and the Beskar armor and lightsabers like would clash up against it, and it didn't cut through. And I don't know. I thought that was an interesting quality of the nature of lightsabers, because like they're in most conflicts, lightsabers just seem to cut through anything, like metal, whatever. But there was a scene in one of the prequels where Obi-Wan or Qui-Gon Jinn stuck a lightsaber into a giant metal door, and it didn't instantly cut. It was just like the metal was just melting and molten and just dripping like molasses slowly, and the lightsaber was just like having a hard time cutting through it. And I just think it's interesting that there are some types of metal that lightsabers don't cut, and that I think that's cool, because not only does it make sense in the universe in that Mandalorians and Jedi are supposed to be natural enemies, but it makes it seem like it makes it seem like Jedi are not invulnerable. There was a scene in one of the prequels where Mace Windu just chopped Jango Fett's head off, but I guess he cut between he cut in the vulnerable part. Like when you watch samurai documentaries, they always talk about how like samurai would focus on cutting in between the seams of the armor, and it just makes sense because Jedi are kind of like fantasy versions of samurai. What else do I want to talk about? Yeah, the villains, I just wanted more speaking parts. I wanted more interaction. I wanted them to be fleshed out a little bit more. But Michael Biehn just had a few, just like a handful of speaking parts. The main boss lady barely spoke. I mean, they had an interesting fight at the end, I guess. Yeah, Michael Biehn, I felt like it was sort of a wasted opportunity. Fights were too one-sided. The end of the episode was a little anticlimactic in that you know, for a couple of episodes now he's been trying to find a Jedi, and then they named a Jedi that he was supposed to find, and you know, I don't want to spoil it, but it didn't work out the way they thought, and yeah, it was kind of a letdown, but maybe that's just, I'm supposed to feel let down by that, because you know, we're only on episode 5, and we're like halfway done. There's got to be more that goes down. They did kind of hint at a bigger, you know, another big bad, as they call him, like big boss guy. who is above. I don't know if he's above Moff Gideon. Like the guy that they named came from some of the books. I didn't read the Heir to the Empire series, but my brother did, and I remember he was talking about the villain that they named, and I guess he was a formidable bad guy. So it kind of made it more interesting. Like it's not this tidy. Like the season 2 is not this tidy story about fighting Moff Gideon. Like there are multiple bad guys, and it just makes the universe seem messier and a little bit cooler because the universe is messy. There should be lots of dangerous people. There should be people that can beat up the hero, and yeah, like it was a decent episode. It had some problems, but they weren't horrible problems. I liked how it was gritty, and it checked a lot of my boxes. Not there wasn't any slime, but you can't always get everything you want. Anyway, I feel like as usual my review was scatterbrained and whatever, but yeah, I like this one. If I had to give it a grade, I would say probably B plus because just because I wanted the enemies to be a little bit more fleshed out and a little bit more interesting, and the Jedi and Mandalorian just beat too much ass without really. I didn't feel like they were challenged very much, and I wanted them to be. So yeah, I'm gonna go with B plus. So thank you for watching. Have a good day.